Okay, so the step one is I'm gonna look at. Oh yeah. So this is a cone. So we know how to make that. So we start with an ellipse. Okay, that's the bottom right here, and then the upside down V. Now I'm gonna look to see how much space there is between here and here. So when I go over here, I'll be like, oh, well, it's like, it's got this shape right here that I'm not going to draw. That's called looking at the negative space. So it's like, okay, does this shape and this shape look the same? If it does, that means the thing that I'm actually trying to draw is probably right. Then I got my sphere. So we know how to draw those. Go around. And see how close it's getting to that bounding box, the bubble, right? That's what you want. You want to kind of try and take up the same amount of space as is going on here. So I got myself sphere. Cube, we know how to draw that. We start with a diamond on top. Right? There's that diamond right there. And notice how the diamond point is touching almost where these lines converge, where the lines almost touch. So that means my diamond needs to go higher. And right now I'm drawing really lightly. Like this is the darkest I'd be drawing, so I'm drawing really lightly. Then we've got the lines going down, and you can see that the sphere is going through the cube, right? You'd be like, I don't want to draw that. That's weird. But this first part, we call it like construction line. So think about all these shapes as wires. So if it's made out of wires, you probably can see through it. Cylinder. So we start with the ellipses. And straight up and downy lines. And again, I'm pressing really lightly. So it's not a big deal for erasing. And like notice how much space there is here versus here. So that means this probably goes a little further over. This is overlapping. You got thin. I'm just checking to see where things are at. This is a little higher up. Okay, so that's step one. Just get the basic shapes. And you can go in and erase these lines or not worry about them until the very end. But see, that was way faster. That was way easier than trying to do everything like one at a time. And now I can go in and do value. So this, you can see it's a little wonky because the light source is coming from kind of behind. This is actually the darkest part right here on this corner. We see the similar thing that we set up yesterday here. So you see 1, 2, 4, 3, 5. Right? And then the sphere, if I was going to draw the boundary lines, we got something like that. But you can't see that line. See it? There's a little bit of reflected light right here that you can't see in this camera thing, but it's there. And then the cylinder also is very similar to the cone. The darkest part is over on this side, but you can see there's a dark line in the center. Try to go through, see the values, and then you'll apply that here. So this is that shape from the cube that we made where it goes back like that. And then the cone, you can't see the point of it, but it's going back like that. And then you can't see the sphere, most of it, but we got this swooshy thing. And then the cylinder, straight line, curved, straight line. And you fill in the values, just like we did yesterday. It's just we're doing it for realtors. This way, when we do an actual still life, which we're going to do, so I'm going to put a bunch of shapes in front of you, and you're going to stare at them, and you're going to draw them in real life. It's going to be cool. So that's today. I'll also notice in the worksheet, the background is not white. So add a little bit of value to the background too. What that's going to do is make like this part of the cone lighter. So this should be one of the lightest parts. So as you're going through and putting value on the background, It'll give you a chance to lighten up the side of the cone and be able to see the side of the cone and other things. And if you want to attempt to erase the box, the like boxy stuff, you can. So you can see on mine how dark I just made the cone on the side. So to you know, differentiate it from the background. There we go. Much better. Much better. And it's always great to start out light and then work your way to dark than it is to do dark and then have to do lots of erasing. And like I'm looking at the cube right here, this side of the cube is much lighter than the table that it's sitting on. So I gotta make that table like the value of a 2. You can also, up here, there's always going to be those thingies with the value scales. So if that's helpful to you, you can go grab one of those. Might be helpful if you want to. And like right here, the sphere is lighter than the background, so I can go in and lighten up that part. And that's gonna basically make it, with value, all of the lines basically disappear. So as you're working, think about either the reason you see a difference here, there's no lines here. It's that there's a part that is darker and a part that is lighter. So like back behind the cone, there's a difference between the cone's dark, and the background's light. So you see the difference. There's no lines there that, you know, it's not a coloring book. And it's value. You just see the difference between darks and lights, and that makes the shapes happen. Which is really cool to think about. Like your eyes are kind of pretty cool. Or you can see the difference between shapes because we see value. Oh, this is fun. I forgot what drawing is. Drawing's fun. I like this. I normally don't complete the entire worksheets. Or I don't spend a lot of time on them. Because it's like, oh, I gotta get it done. Because it's my job. So if you're watching me, you can see how much darker I'm bringing this. I started out quite light. Which is better than doing a ton of erasing. But I would say the only things that are a 1 value, so the only things that shouldn't have stuff, are the side of the cube, part of the cone, or part of the cylinder, part of the sphere, and part of the cone. So other than that, everything should have value. So those are the only things really that should be not, you shouldn't be putting stuff on, is those little areas on the shapes. I should have told that to the other classes, because I had a bunch of people that finished and they didn't do that. Whoopsie doodles. Oh yeah, storage of sketchbooks.